Thought it was 18.
We honestly need like a third person just to run and get water and shit, or train cash too.
Yeah, like off screen, like the like a Jamie.
Yeah, it just pops up in hands on.
Yeah.
He comes on, his arm comes on this
Mhm.
show or something.
Well, episode 18, Frozen Ice Perspective, back with Chase, Franky Deluxe,
Hey, Franky.
Franky. Show sponsored by Frozen Ice,
Productions.
Frozen Ice, or Frozen Productions .shop. Go shop.
Hey, make
Go
sure
watch some
y'all-
videos.
Make sure y'all get that frozen ice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, get the Frozen Ice. New shit's coming. It'll happen. How has Franky Deluxe been?
Franky is good. Not too high, not too low right now. You know what I'm saying? Right in a good
That's
spot.
right.
Honestly, I got some new shit cooking up like always. I'm trying to get a little summer tape out for y'all. It's already done, but I'm just trying to like mainly get some shit out there for everyone and continue to drop. You know, my shit just keeps leveling up. Like this new project is like put some RESPECT on my motherfucking name. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm pretty good. I got some shit in the works behind the scenes. Just some shit I don't really want to talk about yet. Just still making shit happen. So we'll see how that shit goes.
I've heard some of your singles that you're ready to drop as a project, and there's some heaters in there for sure.
Yeah.
Mainly all of them are heaters.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I work really hard on this shit, and I'm always making new shit, you know, so it's really just like comes down to just putting in the work and not stopping. I mean, I don't really have much to stop for. I mean, even when I feel like kind of uninspired, like I just know I got to keep pushing, and eventually the right words will come to me. And it's like basically like when the Bible was written, the people who wrote it, like they wrote over and over and over and over again until they got it right, got the message right, you know, because all that energy is like conflicting with each other, and it's like sometimes you're on a different wavelength with yourself, so you're not reaching the right type of content you want. It's like almost like it's an antenna, almost like you're connected to the universe, like we all are, and we all have access to that energy. You just got to be willing to accept it and know it's there and be egoless, you know. No one's better than anyone. We're all on the same playing field, like no matter what, you know. So it starts right here. You know what I'm saying? Right with your heart, and if your heart's in it, you could do anything. So
You can, yeah, and I feel like you've put in your heart, your heart and soul into your rap career, and it's amazing to see the growth you've done in such a little amount of time, and where it's going to lead in the future. What'll happen? And yeah, you do got some big shit popping, and I guess you said you can't talk about it.
yeah, well, it's just like I feel like with anything, it's like until it's set in stone, you don't want to let everyone know. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like you have your team, but other than that, like you don't really let anyone outside know what's going on, because they'll try to slow your shit down. But with me is I'm always testing motherfuckers. People don't understand me. People think they're running tests on me. It's like, hell no, motherfucker. I know who the fuck I am. Like I don't care what people did yesterday. It's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck are you doing today? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
if you're not putting in that fucking shit, like especially like doing business with all these people and all these different people, like they come from different places, like they're way different than me. Like we obviously share that same taste in the music, and like we have that in common, but like really like they didn't grow up how I grew up, and shit that no one knows how I grew up. I don't know how they grew up. You know what I'm saying? So it just comes down to like knowing how to deal with different personalities and be in different cliques, and like I can kind of go with everyone just because I've always been kind of like the lone wolf type of mentality. Like I'll make myself fit in anywhere, because I know at the end of the day, like, everything is just a moment, and most of these people aren't gonna last, and the real ones are gonna last. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like business. It's I learned that nothing's really personal when it comes to what's on someone's plate. You know what I'm saying? It's like they got to take care of their plate before they could take care of yours, if you're like on at their table. You know what I'm saying? And it took me a long time to understand that, but the right people will always just stick around and always be down, and understand we're all human, we fuck up, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, humans, we do make mistakes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Going back to what you said about the knowing yourself, and having to know yourself is the biggest thing, I think, for someone that's doing something like you do, rapping in an industry full of toxicity. Like, it's a toxic place. You can get lost easy, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
and knowing yourself is a good start to even begin stepping into trying to go reach that path and do these contracts and like get this money from it. Like, it might, like, I don't know. I don't know much about the industry, but I've heard some bad shit,
I mean, dude, but it just comes down to like everything. Like, dude, you could have a normal job and there'd be bad shit. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it's just like in all types of business, and it really just comes down to like, these people weren't as good at business, but this is where like shit is like, all right, like if I am like a record label, you know what I'm saying? And I got this guy who's talented, and he's gonna give me all his money for all his work, and I'm just gonna loan him some money, but like it's a 360. If you could get him to sign that in business, you're keeping your job. That company's keeping you because you just convinced someone to give that company your entire brand. You know what I'm saying?
Hasn't rappers like kind of paved the way recently of doing it independently?
Yeah.
Like Russ making his independent stuff on streams, his money.
Yeah, there's a lot of great independent artists, and I'm always learning stuff all the time about like in being an independent artist, and it's definitely good to own your brand, and even if it takes a little longer, like there's
also not bad industry record deals out there.
I mean, there's still good deals, but yeah, I mean, I was watching this video, and there's this guy, and he was like, yeah, the label basically gave me a 360, and I was like, what the fuck? And then they said, oh, that was the wrong contract. Like, no, they're just seeing if I was gonna sign that shit. Like, at the end of the day, it's like business. So it's like if you could own 100% of the business compared to 1%, what are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? It's like if you could have 10%, like, compared to 5%, you're gonna try to get everything you can out of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially being a business, it's like if you're selling food, like, you got to pay your workers, you got to pay that, and you're gonna try to get everything you can out of that worker, out of that plate, out of that sale. You know what I'm saying? And
it's crazy how it used to be. Like, it probably still is like it, but like the movie NWA kind of painted a picture with that one guy making all the money and not really giving it to the artists, and they're like, where's my money, Jerry?
Well, I mean, but this is also like the problem is with business is like, obviously you are around someone every day, they come off as a great person, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you trust them, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can obviously trust people, but you can't just trust anyone just because they're getting you paid, or it looks like they're getting you shows or this and that. It's like, nah, you need to be checking your shit. You need to be the one checking your balance, moving your money. Don't let other people fucking have access to that shit, like, because everyone will take advantage. Everybody, like, it's just like how it goes, especially in the music business. Like, these labels just take advantage of artists, and artists know, but it's crazy because some artists would rather sign a 360 than never have the shot. And it's like, what are you doing it for? Like, me personally, like,
the fame.
Honestly, with how much shit I have out and like how much I put in, like, honestly, I probably want $1 million. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just because it's like, fuck, like, and then guess what? They're not owning any of my previous shit either. Like, that's all my shit, and I'm gonna recoup that money unless they pay me even more money.
So could they come at you like, we give you this deal, and they would could they get your old shit
No, basically the only deal I would sign is like maybe for an album.
to make a new one
Yeah.
and give it to them and they put it out?
And they put it out, yeah. Like other than that, like fuck that. Like,
and it doesn't take you that long to put together an album, but it has to be, I mean, the time has to be right, and the music has to be there.
Shit, like once you're on with the label, they start hooking you up with different people. It's like maybe with one producer you're not as good with, but then you get with this one producer and like y'all are just clicking. You sound good on their shit. You get with another artist, you sound good with their shit. Their fan base connects with you. You just get access to different people,
and you'll probably get treated good and right and paid for stuff.
I mean, the thing is, you can't predict the future, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you would hope you're gonna get treated good, but bruh, like,
yeah, true,
you know, it's,
you never know.
It's not the reality of like everything, you know. It's like people, like I said, they're gonna get what they can out of you regardless, and as soon as you stop offering them something, they're fucking done. Like it's just like but the thing is, you can't be upset about it because any business is like that. Like you could have a great worker for 5 years, and then for the last 2 years they've just been terrible, and you're like, oh well, he hasn't been good. We've given him the warnings. We have to move on. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the same with music. Is like if you're not doing your job, you're gone, you know. Why does that job need you, you know? But it's all about taking advantage from what you can get from the label, which is capital, connections, and you have to be good enough and savvy enough at business yourself to build your brand, so when you're done with that label, you have a brand and you can continue to do whatever you're doing on your own scale, on your own time, you know, like. And I mean, that's really the goal.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah,
that's the way these people should approach it, you know.
Well, it's not like, it's like, all right, they say you don't do business with friends or family, and it's because when you do it with friends, you don't want to hurt their feelings. You know what I'm saying? Or when you do it with family, it's the same thing. You don't want to hurt their feelings. It's going to cause a rift in your relationship, but really it's nothing personal. It's just business. Like business is like, it's like if I own a business and you're affecting my business and now I'm not profiting at my business, now my business is going under because I accepted you. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm not making anything. What do? You find someone who's going to make it work better, like regardless of who it is, you know? And it's just like, I don't know, I used to not understand a lot of this shit, and I used to always be like, oh, this shit's going to be free, this and that. And it's like, nah, bro, like everyone wants bread. Like you could pay someone to do anything. Obviously, if someone's really down with you and they believe in what you're doing, they're gonna fuck with you. But those are people like I was talking about, the ones that stick around. You know what I'm saying? They're not the ones who are there for a moment and you guys do something great together, but then you move on, and then there was just that moment with that person. It doesn't mean there's not a lasting like relationship or like friendship or whatever, but there's people who are always gonna be there, day in and day out, and then there's people who are there like once a month, then there's people who are there once a year, you know? But it's never nothing personal. It's just like, especially when you're in business, like there's so many faces, like you're meeting so many different people, you know. You're trying to build all these bridges to walk over, and it's like shit. Like the one thing that I've never been afraid to do is like speak my mind and like speak my truth. And I don't want to do business with people who I feel like are like taking advantage of me. The only people I like to do business with are the ones who I feel are like genuine towards what I'm doing and like actually have a good heart, you know, because a lot of people don't have good hearts these days. And like I was saying, they're just out for themselves, which is okay, but like it just comes back to like
it's tough out there with a world revolved around money. Like you said, you know, the money thing makes people have bad hearts and do bad things. Greedy people can lead to just bad situations, and it's just this whole world is revolved around money.
Well, it just like I don't have a problem with like, I guess like you could say like rich people, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
my problem is what comes down to like, is this really like the people who are like leading everything behind the scenes, like these fucking people who just like, cause like,
The elites at the top.
the people who are just running the world because of cash, and it's like,
There's too big of a gap between the poor and the elites right now. There's no middle class. It's too big. There's gonna be something happening here soon. A revolt, I think personally.
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I don't know what the future holds. I just know that right now, I feel like this energy shifting, but I don't know if it's like good or bad yet. Like, I hope it's good, but it's like just everything that's going on, like in Taiwan and like over in Ukraine and then North
The
Korea,
wars.
and just
Yeah.
like the world is like not in a good place right now. And
No.
it's mainly because of greed. Like, I still don't
Uh-huh.
get like, I mean, I understand like why, like obviously like we can't give up our trade routes and shit, and it's our job to protect what we already have. You know what I'm saying? But I still don't get why we're fighting with each other. Like,
Well, I can see both sides to it. I can see why Putin's mad at the West, and I can see why we're providing support for Ukraine against Putin. You know, Putin doesn't like the West invading or being close to his
well,
land.
really, all America's doing right now is bleeding Russia. You know, they just give them low cuts.
And that's what they want to do. They want to bleed out Russia and then get to China eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it just comes to like communism and, you know, just like all that shit. So
It seems like the Chinese are taking a 180, like they're trying to be like the good guys to their people. Well, obviously that's what they would do. Like Russia is telling their people, like
well,
the
it's just
West.
propaganda.
It
you
is,
know?
yeah.
It's like they're doing the same shit to us. Like, really, I don't know what's going on in Ukraine. I'm not
Yeah.
fucking right there on the front lines. Like,
I heard their
hearing it.
counteroffensive wasn't doing too good. Their new one they got rolling out.
I mean, the thing is, I feel like with war is like obviously you could take land and like you can win, but it's like you're gonna lose way more than you gain, and it's just like
Yeah.
fuck, like it's crazy because like money can do anything. So like it's like even over here, China buys a ton of land. They don't. It's still controlled by America, but in America, like that's their private property, so they
Yeah.
could put whatever they want there. They
And
could
it's-
have like Chinese tanks on American soil right now. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
They could.
Like just by tripping through trains because they legally own property here. You know, like so it's like you never know like anything. But at the end of the day, like information is like so controlled.
I wish it was a world where a country could just come over and own land and be peaceful, you know? Like why can't it just be that?
I mean, it is kind of like that. It's just like they don't own it, if you get what I'm saying. The government still owns everything.
Yeah. And in their jurisdiction of the world, you know?
Yeah,
And there are certain areas.
like even if you own it, they could tell you that they could take it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and they might have to go through
True.
like the court system or something. But like,
I guess
it
the
could-
Chinese have been known to like infiltrate their farmers and take their farmers out of the farming stuff. And that's bad. That's communism, I guess. So I guess we fight against it. It's crazy how we have 800 bases out there, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely the strongest military
powerhouse
in the world still. But
Yeah.
I just don't even get it. Like we have people starving and we're spending all this money on fighting each other. Like if we just stop the wars and we're like one, like
We need to help
united,
the poor.
like I don't think we need to be like all
Keep going for a second.
like one fucking what's it called? New like the new world order. Like I don't think we need to be like all that shit, but I definitely think there should be I was saying it's just like basically like everyone's like afraid. Like I don't think it should be like no one should have too much power, but if there's like a real democracy that isn't like controlled by people with money and power, you know, like I think it'd be like awesome for the world. But like let's be real, there's so much corrupt shit that goes on. Like the only way for all that to stop is like for the entire society to basically fucking be destroyed. Like, you know, you have to burn it down. Like for there to be fucking like growth like you have to fucking be destroyed, like
Yeah.
sometimes for like the change. But I don't want that to happen, obviously. But it's like unless these people who are like leading us right now, like eventually, obviously they'll die off. But it's like it will take like new people who like
Hmm.
want like to move forward and like have a better like on a global scale though, like being a community, like no one should go without food, no one should go without water, like like some people will take like an hour long shower, which I get it, like sometimes, but like I normally take like 5 minutes. I
Yeah.
mean, if I'm really like sad or something or like feeling sick, I might take like a 15-minute shower. But it's like there's people who like are bathing in the river and shit, and there's like disease and everything. But at the same time, like a lot of
Hmm.
those people are probably happier than a lot of these people who have everything, just because they
Yeah.
don't know what it is to really have like anything except like fucking family, which is incredible, and they're the people around them.
One thing I think about a lot, which would destroy humanity, people would be going crazy, is if they just shut off the power out here. Just the power grids went down. How much food would go bad right away, and then trucking probably wouldn't happen. So you'd have to fend for yourself. It'd be down to hunting then, having your own shit, and then like a generator to power up your boiler house. And then in the middle of winter, if that happens, still people would go freezing. Like it would be a bad situation all around if a power grid. We rely on power so much.
Well, yeah, it's literally everything. Like,
And we've been giving it to us since birth, my age at least,
yeah, I
and the
mean,
generation
even
before us.
yeah, I mean, electricity's been around for a while now, but
We really don't know how to survive in the wild.
yeah, I mean, at the same time though, like your instincts will like kick in eventually, like your survival instincts. Like we are still like an animal, and then, like when an animal's backed in a corner, it knows how to react. It might not always make the right reaction, but
It
it's
will
gonna
react.
react.
Definitely. It would. It would. Fucking the world's getting crazy out there. I don't know what's gonna happen between Russia, China, USA, Ukraine, Biden.
I just think all these guys who are fighting with each other just need to come out to Alaska, meet me at Harding Lake, and take some mushrooms, and just look at how beautiful everything is and why we're fighting over it. Because they could come here.
Well, mushrooms
Just
could
brought them here.
mushrooms could change the world.
I mean, honestly,
If everyone took them at the same time.
some people couldn't handle that shit. Like they
Some people. Yeah.
I feel like you have to be really open minded and in tune with yourself and very self aware, and yeah, you just gotta like not freak yourself out. Like, whenever I like am tripping like really hard when I take mushrooms, I just sit there and I'm just like, fuck, like,
Well, it puts you in like this trance state almost. It's like you're in it, you can't get out. It's like you're in it,
yeah, I mean, it used to be different, but then I've done them quite a bit now. So like now, like I could go anywhere and function on them, like, and be normal. Like, yeah, I might be a little goofy or something, but I guarantee I'll be pretty fucking normal. Like, because I used to like, I remember I was taking them and I was laughing so hard, and my friend was like,
Yeah.
"Bro, you need to chill." Like, cause
I've
like,
never been out in a public. Sorry, I've never been out in a public environment on the shrooms.
yeah,
I've only taken them like a handful of times.
yeah. I mean, I've been around quite a bit of people, but most all of us were on shrooms, so it was cool. Like, but yeah, fucking
Right.
what I was saying, my friend was just like, "Bro, chill," because I was like just like clowning, saying like funny ass shit, but like some of it didn't make any sense. And then fucking like I was like, yeah, you're right, and I just kind of snapped myself back into it, and I was like, felt I was still tripping, but like I was able to like control myself. You're not like out of control, like, so. But yeah, I mean,
No, it puts me like in a spot where I'm just like stuck in the moment, right? I can just feel everything around me, feel my thoughts. Like it's just like it puts me in the moment more. But I haven't done them in years, so I don't know.
it honestly reminds me of
When's the last time you did that?
last week.
Last week.
But it just reminds
Was it
me
a good
of,
one?
yeah, it's always a good one. I mean, like
Nice.
I have like a pretty good energy. Like a lot of people will be like, "Oh, like you're acting weird or you're this and that." It's like not really like that at all. Like what they don't get is they got a version of me that I gave to them, and now they don't get that version of me anymore, So it's just like mainly me like protecting myself, but also like there's sides of me. Everyone gets a different side of me, you know? Like, sorry, I don't show you the good side, but it's probably for a reason, you know? So, yeah.
Fuck yeah. I'm kind of interested in taking some shrooms soon.
Yeah.
Getting a little
Go
wild.
to the lake and just shroomy doom doom.
A little shroom.
Shroomy doom doom. Go jump in the lake. Go catch a pike with your bare hands.
Go freaking, yeah.
Just
with my teeth.
With your teeth.
Bite it
Just bite
right
it
when
down.
I'm coming out of the water.
Yeah, doggy paddling.
That's all I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
To do the doggy.
Well, cool, man.
Yeah. I think that's enough. Well, I kind of wanted to touch on one thing.
What?
Let me look it up. It's in my notes. Do you have a process you do every day? Like how do you perfect your process? Like, can you answer that? Like, how have you perfected your process over time in the music industry and your daily
Honestly,
life?
like, there's not really a process that I have. I just kind of get really high and see what happens. The process changes all the time. Sometimes it just clicks and it comes to me, and then other times I'll freestyle it, and then other times like I'll hear the beat and the hook will be in my head after 1 second, and then other times I write and write and write and write and write and write and write, and then I just want to quit, but I love it, so I'm not gonna quit.
So you just go hard, pretty much.
I just,
That's your process.
Yeah, whatever's fucking clicking in the moment. Sometimes I'll just move on. Sometimes I'll write something, it's super dope, and I'll be like, this shit sucks. And then, like, I'll, like, record it. I always record it, and just so I remember it. And then I come back the next day and listen. I'm like, damn, this shit's actually fire. Like, what the fuck was I thinking? Why was I hating on myself? Like, I feel like in the society, we're, like, taught to, like, worry about what other people think of us, and even from a young age, like your parents are like worried about it too. Like they like tell you like, oh, like we want people to view you like a good kid or this and that. It's like, fuck what these people fucking think. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, as long as if I have a kid, as long as I know they're a good kid, that's all I give a fuck about. Fuck these motherfuckers who are out here judging a fucking kid, you know what I'm saying, who honestly doesn't even know any better. Like, eventually, like, you either learn or you don't, you know, but when you're a kid, like, everything's fucking new, and when, like, we're told, like, no, we naturally want to go, like, do it, you know what I'm saying? At least I was always the friend that was like, guys, we shouldn't be doing this, and then like, obviously I was like, they still fucking did it, but it's like, it was just stupid shit, you know, like toilet papering shit, and like just like goofy ass shit, climbing on shit, like
kid shit.
Yeah, kid shit. Exactly. Going to Alaska Land, meeting a lady with a snake, and she sells us a fucking bag of weed, and we go under the bridge and fucking smoke it.
Oh my
She was gone for like 30 minutes. We were like, fuck, she took our money, and then she pulled back up with our weed, and we were like, it was definitely some boo-boo, but when you're like 15, you're like,
oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? We got the sack, like... And I remember smoking that shit, and one of the homies was walking back and forth under the bridge, so paranoid. He wasn't even smoking. Me and the other homie just smoking. He's just walking back and forth, and then a fucking cop goes over the bridge and whoop whoop. That's the sound of the police. But yeah, whoop whoop dust, and then we fucking we're all paranoid, ran off, ran back to the homie's house. We were in the tent. And we were acting like we were playing Call of Duty. We weren't playing Call of Duty. We were just fucking playing it with our minds.
High as fuck.
Yeah, because we're like fucking still new to smoking. But now it's like, fuck, I smoke and it feels like a fucking tobacco or something. Like, I just fucking smoked that shit and...
Fucking... Wow.
Yeah, wowzers.
You dropped a bomb at the end of this pod.
What about the real shit?
I was about to wrap it up, and you just fucking just told the funniest story. That is hilarious.
I got
thank you for doing this again and coming on.
Yeah, my Cash App's just Chase Franklin, CHAYSE, Franklin, FRNKLIN. Make sure y'all Cash App me $1,000 each.
Thousands.
All of Frozen Ice fan base. remember, you guys are a part of this too, especially when you give me $1,000.
Yes, give him $1,000.
I'm just fucking around. All right, man. I appreciate you too, Dusty.
Yeah, thank you, man.